Hey. Okay, so now this is the third cut of this. So my first row I actually left a little bit loose, so that way you could see um, where everything was kind of going on. So here's the knot. It's in between these two beads. So obviously I'm not really going to ever use this one. I'm going to have to cut it anyways. So here's a pattern I'm going to use. I write the numbers down here so that way if I ever get up, walk away, I know where I left off. I don't have to try and figure it out. So right now my knot is right here on this side of this one. I need it to be on the other side where this 2 is. So basically I just need to go from where this knot is over one bead. So let me get this. This is the binder clip that I use. It's just a little tiny binder clip, and I just put the string, cut the string, put it through it, and just clip it in so that way when I pull, I can pull tight on it when it's going through, and it won't actually interfere with any of my string. So basically here's this knot right here. So I need it to go over to basically right here. So basically I'm going to skip one bead. It's going to sit on top of the second bead, which is this one, and then through the third bead. So get the end of my string here. So here's the knot. I'm going to skip one bead. It's going to sit on top of the second, and I'm going to go through the third. And so basically it's just going to go on top of one, through, and then through the next. This will be on top of this one, and then through the next one. I can have some issues here. And I pull it all the way through that way. I don't have to worry about slack on the very end. So then it's on top of that one. Go through the one after that. Pull it through. See, now I'm starting to get the pattern, the 1 2 1 2 1 2 pattern. Hopefully this works because it's a little loose. I had an issue last time. It ended up coming loose. And I tied it and didn't realize it was loose. So for whatever reason this is loose, I'll just have to cut this one. Start over again. This would be so much easier if you were here to teach you face to face. So I just pulled a little like snug after every bead. Still just going on. Skip on top of one and then through the next. So basically you just go through every other bead. That way you get the pattern down. This one's a little easier because I have all blues for my first 1 and 2 rows. So if I were to mess up stringing it, you'd probably never know. Unless you were looking for it, like you were looking at the knots and you might see that it's off one or something. But that's really the only way you'd be able to tell. With patterns that start at the very bottom, I just generally just check them as I'm going through before I tie it, or even if I'm getting to like a colored portion, I'll always run through the colors, and then I'll look at it and make sure it's correct and that everything is actually straight and where it's supposed to be color-wise. That way, if I mess up, I don't have to worry about it. I can just fix it right then. I'm gonna try and fix it later. So now this knot. Oops, I forgot to cut my leads. So I normally leave my leads on from the last row, so that way I know where my knot is. It makes it a little bit easier to find it once I cut my new string and that stuff. But I forgot to cut this time, so I'm gonna cut it right now. So I just put my bead through, my last bead through, and I'm going to tie it real quick and then I'll show you where the knots are. So I took my clip off and now I'm going to tie it. I generally just pull it snug. I don't try and pull these ones really tight because it'll actually mess up the actual circle part of the cuff. I'm having issues here. So I just pull it snug and then tie it. I do 3 or 4 knots. I do 4 for sure on the top and bottom and on the third row because that's when it starts to pull into a cuff. The other ones I just generally just do 3 unless I'm worried about it some way. So it'll start to look like this. So we have 2 1 2 1 2 1. This knot, oops, it's actually a little bit twisted. So this knot, if you look, here's where this knot is. Oops, no, this way. That's where that knot is. And the other knot, if you see it, it's just on the other side of the bead. Oh, right there. So they're actually one on each side of the bead. So on this side of the bead is actually the first knot. On this side, the other side of the bead is the second knot. And so for the third row, here's where my knot is right now. So I need it to be just over here. So basically, my third bead is going to sit on top of my first one. That's basically how this reads, obviously. So where the knot is will be right here, you know. So this one will have to sit and it'll be tied in the same exact spot. So here, let me pull that string real quick. So basically you just go back where your knot is tied right now. You just go move one space backwards, basically. So I just cut the string and I just put it through the clip. And just clip it in the middle there. So hold on that last bead for me. Make sure my knot is away from me. I think I twisted it, which is going to cause some problems, but I'll try and work through it. And your knots will actually tell you which direction you're going to go. So if you look at my knots, my strings are going that way, so I'll be going this way, away from that knot. So use this one first. So for the third one, I'm basically just going to string it through the same bead where the second knot is. I'm just going to move my leads out of the way, string it through, and then I'm going to cut my leads off because now I know where that knot is. It's looking a little bit twisted, but we're just going to have to work through it. Basically, and then I just string it on. Obviously, you just put the bead where the other one was supposed to be, and now it's not. So just where the little gap is in between. I was taking beats in the wrong spot. So it's just the same thing, just filling in. So you're basically just stringing through every other bead, obviously. And then once you pull it, it'll actually, once you pull this one a little bit tighter, we'll actually pull it into like a little triangle, circle thing, depending on how tight you pull it. You don't want to pull it super tight. You want to pull it tight enough that it will hold its shape. It is, like I said, it is twisted, so it might look a little funky right now, but I'm just trying, more or less trying to show you how to do the knots. And once I tie this one, I'll show you where the fourth knot will go. Hopefully it will give you the explanation you need, and then I can actually get through this video. Third time is a charm. Technically, if this works, it would have been fourth time, because I would have had to redo it. It's twisted. Whoops. Power through it. Obviously, if you're doing a real cuff right now, you have to cut it and start over because I messed up the second row. Cut the second row off, start over. Whoa, whoa. Let's drop my string. So basically, once you get done with this row, you'll just tie it. And when you go to start the fourth row, you'll start it where the second one started. So that way that knot will be exactly where the in the same spot the second one will be, or the second one was, sorry. And then you'll just alternate back and forth between them. I think I'm going to be able to make this work even though it's twisted. So I just finished my row. Take my clip off and tie it real quick. So like I said, this one I pull kind of tight, so it brings it up, and I think it might have fixed itself. So I tie this one with 4 knots because it's the one that brings it up into the cuff. So see, it's actually up now like that. Oops, here we go. Let's see, where's the camera? There it is. It's a little bit. It's up now. So if you look, here's my knots. So my first and my, what did I do with my pen? So my knot that I just tied, right here. My knot that I just tied is right here. My second knot is on the other side of it in this bead. My first knot is actually right below it in that position. So when I go to start my fourth row, if you look here, so here's where my knot is right now on this side of this. On this side of this 3, I need my knot to be on the other side right here where this 4 is. So basically, I would start right here. Here's where my third knot is. I'd basically just go over one spot and start here. Put my clip on, put my first bead on, and start stringing it through here. Go all the way around, tie it, and then I would basically just go back to this position and start here. And then the next one I go back to this position, start here, and back to this position, start here, and I just go back and forth all the way up. That way, once you fold it like that, you'll be able to see the multiple knots. Like here's 2 right here, and then the other one obviously there's only 1. So when I fold it, there's the knot right there. So that's basically it.